I think I sense maybe a faction in this room of folks that that might not have voted for President Trump, and I'll say that I happen to believe very much that President Trump supports our Constitution. And I sleep good at night knowing that every vote that I cast is in support of our Constitution and your freedoms and limited government.
Our next question comes.
North Carolina DOT has reopened over 1,300 roads that were closed due to the storm.
We live here. Listen to us now. Listen to us now. Listen to us now. Listen to us now. Go ahead. Let him speak. We're looking for him. We know what he said.
The American people sent President Trump back to the White House and Republican majority. Economic dominance.
Oh boy.
And to secure
Stock market is down 10%.
In my view, our nation's debt crisis has been largely ignored far too long.
Oh, and you're going to solve that by giving a $4 billion tax cut?
Is now
Yes.
to fix how Washington works.
Woo.
To that end, I was proud to vote recently for the House budget resolution, which
Do you support Ukraine?
Nobody tells the truth.
that framework provides for Congress to secure the border,
Are you afraid of Trump?
to promote
Yes,
American
cowards.
independence,
Are you
to
afraid
lower
of
taxes,
cowards?
and to make America more competitive.
Taxes are going up.
Cowards,
There's
traitors.
much that the president can do under his Article II authorities provided by the Constitution.
Do whatever the hell you want to do. No
The
one's standing
size of government, the
Are you
scale of
afraid
government,
of Trump?
which over the decades has
afraid of
become unwieldy and largely accountable on a national
Why the non-elected
scale.
person running our government? Not allowed to cut our jobs, take our money.
Cowards.
That is your job to fund our
Stand up
program.
to Trump.
Y'all took my job.
You were sent there to do, to represent us all. Let's let him speak.
Thank you.
You have nothing to say, but lie. You're lying. I'm a veteran. You don't give a fuck about me. That's right. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what fucking you can do. You don't even take away our rights. You don't even take our house to get up. You don't get
Come on, you guys. The veteran, I'd like you to spend money.
But to be clear, I deeply value the contributions that
Just to be clear, you're bullshit and you're not fucking telling the truth and you're not listening to us.
Florida is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's interesting because anytime my colleagues want to defend horrible moves by the Trump administration, whether trying to cut Medicare, cut Medicaid. They keep saying, the people have spoken, without realizing that the people are speaking. That's why they continue to cancel their town halls, because they don't want to hear what the people are saying right now. Costs are at an all-time high. I came down here to tell people that if you're struggling to afford food, you can't pay your rent, the medical bills are stacking up, this bill will make your life worse. Why? To give tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations. This bill sets up major cuts to Medicaid, which 60,000 children in my district rely on for health care. Cuts to Medicare, steals from veterans, ripping away benefits, steals from working people and families, gives even more unchecked power to President Elon Musk and Doge. And recently Musk said that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. So every vote in favor of this bill endorses those words. You vote for this, go to your constituents and be loud and proud. Tell them that the program that they've paid into and worked on their entire life so they can retire with dignity is a Ponzi scheme. Oh wait, Republicans have been told by their leadership to stop doing town halls. Why? Because the people are pissed off. They're scared. Many have been sold this BS lie that if we just give all the power to billionaires like Elon Musk, we'll all be okay. But I got breaking news for you. The billionaires have always had immense power in this country, and it hasn't worked out for us.
Works. I'm going to go use the platform that I have and hand them the megaphone to talk about this. I wouldn't do those town halls if I were them either, because they have to defend cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, hurting their local public school, fighting a trade war with Canada, just the nonsense, and defending President Musk. So I lived through these in 2010 when the Tea Party was there. And they're telling them that these are outside agitators. I heard a few Democrats in 2010 try and say, oh, don't worry about it. These are outside agitators. They were not. They were my neighbors. Right. And they were mad and confused about what was going to happen. Now, did the Republicans gin those up? Yeah, they threw fuel on that fire. I'm going to go out there and make sure that those folks down in Iowa know that their rep doesn't want to come talk to him, but he voted for this stuff. He voted to defund these things. He voted to make it impossible to talk to the VA and cut 70,000 people to care for our veterans. By the way, many of those 70,000 veterans themselves. So I think, again, this is us going out and talking to people, making the case that people are absolutely clear that both parties are not the same. One stands with Elon Musk, the billionaires, and the dismantling of America as we know it, and one that's going to be there for their families. And if we're not out there, Donald Trump, all the podcasts, all the money will fill that void. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going. And if they ask, I'll go. And look, I hope people show up at that town hall and say, look, Governor, what are you offering? Are you offering anything better? That's fair. But not to turn your back and not do it, it's dangerous. Dangerous.
NBC's Julie Sirkin is on Capitol Hill. Former Congresswoman Donna Edwards is an MSNBC political analyst. So, Julie, Democrats say their strategy is to fill this void left by Republicans. What more can you tell us?
Well, remember how this void began. Republicans instructed their members to hold tele-town halls and not those in-person town halls after a number of them in red districts, many of them confronted by voters who voted for President Trump in November, frustrated at this sledgehammer approach that Elon Musk, someone they did not vote for, was taking to the federal government in those job cuts in the federal government, in those program cuts and potential benefit cuts that they've been floating in order to get the deficit down by what Trump said is $2 trillion. And so now Democrats say we're going to step up to the plate. We're going to go and have town halls, not only in our districts, where, by the way, they have been just overwhelmed by supporters, by members of their base, telling them to fight. It's part of the reason why we're talking about an impending shutdown to begin with, but also to go out into those Republican districts. For example, Congressman Ro Khanna of California already planned town halls. He has one next Sunday, March 23rd, that he put on, organized by progressive groups as well, held specifically in 3 districts where there are currently Republican members. Some of them even voted for Kamala Harris or President Biden the other term around, but elected the Republicans into those seats. He said that this is a chance to not only let those constituents hear from them, hear what they're missing out on from their members, from their elected members, but also try to flip the House back into Democratic control in 2026. Take a listen to a little bit of what we heard from Democrats at their retreat in Virginia. Watch.
People want to see you. They want to know you're accessible. They want you to answer questions.
It's making sure that people have an opportunity to be heard.
We're filling a void that's left open by our Republican colleagues who are too scared to show up to town halls in their own districts because they're doing things that are not popular. Even though I don't represent your district, I know you want to talk with a member of Congress, not just send a form online, not leave a voicemail. All that's really important, but you want to see someone face to face.
Now, Chris, I talked to Republican Rich Hudson just last week. He is essentially tasked with re-electing Republicans in the House in 2026, and he's the one who gave them the directive to stop holding these town halls. He's the one who said that these are outside agitators flooding to the town halls. But we know that that's just not true in many of these cases, because you do have Republicans, especially when it comes to those VA cuts, and farmers in rural communities that are really terrified of what's happening, and they can feel it, most importantly, in their pocketbooks.
Well, Congresswoman Tim Walz said there is actually danger in not filling the void. Take a listen.
If we're not out there, Donald Trump, all the podcasts, all the money will fill that void. To turn your back and not do it, it's dangerous. Dangerous.
On the other hand, Donald Trump has long set the national conversation. I don't need to tell you that, Donna, but is this Democratic strategy going to be a real answer to that, or maybe at least a start?
Well, I think that there are Democrats across the country who are elated by this strategy. I think it makes so much sense for Democrats to take the message outside of Washington and out into those districts that are really most affected. We have farmers in rural communities, federal workers who are all across the country who are impacted, students who are losing school breakfast and lunch. Veterans who are suffering at the hands of these cuts.
Make no mistake, guys, these town halls, the people being booed, yes, the congressmen in the room, the congresswomen in the room, the GOP nut jobs, but this is about Trump and Musk. The reason why these often in deep red district congresspeople are so reviled right now is because of Trump and Musk. Because let's be clear, the Republicans are on their way to passing bad laws. But so far, most of the damage has been done illegally, at least in my opinion and in the opinion of some judges, has mostly been done illegally through executive orders. And, getting 19-year-old nobodies going around without any qualifications or, confirmations and just firing career civil servants simply because they're not loyal to Trump and Musk. And they've been doing that without the will of Congress. And then these congressmen are sent there by Trump in some ways to go out and defend him and Musk. And of course, they get booed. And it's no wonder why some of them are canceling these meetings. And it's no wonder that in that case, you need to see Democrats, whether it's Pete's talked about it, Timmy's talked about it, Tim Walz, AOC, she's gone out and said, hey man, if your Republican congressman isn't doing a town hall in your district, isn't willing to represent you and be an actual member of Congress, which includes listening to you and hearing your concerns, I'll be your congresswoman. I'll go to your red district and I'll speak to you about how these cuts are affecting you and the message you want to bring back to Washington. This is showing that while there's a lot of criticism to the Democrats, I know we're going to talk about it, a lot of people are very concerned about Schumer and is he bending over to Trump and all of that. But let's be clear, there are voices in the Democratic Party who are better at representing the red states than the actual Republicans in those red states.